All right, so let's dive into this whole keto thing. You've given us a lot to work with here from Simply Keto by Suzanne Ryan and the Keto Reset Diet Cookbook by Mark Sisson. Looks like you're really ready to swap those carbs for healthy fats.
Yeah, what's really fascinating about keto is how it basically rewire your metabolism. You're essentially flipping a switch from burning sugar to burning fat for energy.
So it's more than just like giving up bread and pasta. There's like a whole science behind it.
Exactly. The goal is to get your body into this state called ketosis. That's when your body starts producing these things called ketones. They're basically an alternative fuel made from fat. Sisson's book, The Keto Reset Diet Cookbook, really goes into the details of how this works.
Okay, so we were told for years that fat was the enemy. Now it's our best friend. It's hard to wrap my head around that change.
Yeah, it is a pretty big change for sure. Both Simply Keto and the Keto Reset Diet Cookbook talk about how that idea that all fats are bad is a myth. They both emphasize the importance of healthy fats, like the fats you find in avocados, nuts, and olive oil. Those are super important for keto and your overall health.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But if we're cutting out carbs and upping our fat intake, what about protein? Where does protein fit into all this?
That's a great question. The typical keto diet is about 70% fat, 20% protein, and then only 10% carbs. But Simply Keto makes it clear that everyone is different. You really need to understand your own body and adjust things based on your needs. It's not one size fits all.
So it's about finding that balance for your body and what you want to achieve. That makes it feel much more personalized and less like a restrictive diet.
Right. And Sisson actually takes it a step further in the Keto Reset Diet Cookbook. He suggests using a blood glucose monitor. It's a way to see how different foods affect your blood sugar and really helps you stay in ketosis.
Wow, that's pretty high tech. Sounds like keto involves a lot of tracking and measuring. It's not as simple as just cutting out carbs, is it?
It definitely requires some attention to detail, especially at the beginning. In Simply Keto, Suzanne Ryan suggests using a food scale to accurately measure your macros. It might seem a little bit tedious at first, but it actually helps you make better choices.
I can see how being that aware could be really empowering. But it also sounds a bit intimidating if you're just starting out. Is there a way to ease into keto without feeling completely overwhelmed?
Both books are big on transitioning gradually. Simply Keto suggests starting by just cutting out sugary drinks and processed foods. That's a pretty manageable first step for most people.
Okay, yeah, that seems doable. But what about all those delicious carbs I'm going to miss? Are there any good substitutes out there that are keto-friendly?
Oh, absolutely. Both books have a ton of really good recipes. They prove that keto doesn't have to be bland or boring, especially the Keto Reset Diet Cookbook. There's a whole section on keto reset staples. With recipes for things like cauliflower rice and almond flour pancakes, you can still enjoy those foods you love, just with a little keto twist.
Phew, that's a relief. What about eating out, though? It seems almost impossible to stick to keto at a restaurant.
Simply Keto dedicates a whole chapter to this. It's all about navigating social situations and dining out. Suzanne Ryan has tips like ordering your burgers without the bun or asking for extra veggies instead of rice or potatoes.
Yeah, those are really good tips. So it's all about making those smart swaps.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about ketosis, macros, healthy fats, and some tips for getting started. But one thing that keeps coming up in both books is this keto flu. What exactly is that, and is it really as bad as it sounds?
The keto flu isn't actually a real flu. It's just a group of symptoms that some people get as their body adjusts to burning fat for fuel. You might feel tired, get headaches, or even feel a little foggy. In Simply Keto, Ryan compares it to your body going through sugar withdrawal.
Oof, that sounds pretty rough. Does everyone get it?
Yeah.
And how long does it usually last?
Not everyone experiences it, and it varies from person to person, but it usually goes away within a few days or a week as your body gets used to things. Simply Keto really stresses the importance of staying hydrated and making sure you get enough electrolytes. Things like bone broth, mineral-rich foods, or even electrolyte supplements can help.
So you're basically just supporting your body as it goes through this big change.
Exactly. And Sisson adds another piece of advice in the Keto Reset Diet Cookbook. He says not to go overboard on the protein, because too much protein can actually make it harder to get into ketosis.
Interesting. I wouldn't have thought of that. So it really is all about getting that balance right.
Yeah, it's about fine-tuning your diet to reach and maintain that fat-burning state. Sisson really emphasizes that in the Keto Reset Diet Cookbook. He talks about how important it is to listen to your body and adjust things as you go.
It sounds like keto is a real journey of self-discovery. You're learning so much about how your body responds to things.
Absolutely. And that's where the real power comes in. You're not just following some rules, you're becoming an active participant in your own health.
This has been incredibly insightful. I'm starting to see keto as more than just cutting carbs. It's really a whole approach that combines science and understanding your own body.
Exactly. It's not a quick fix. It's a change that can really affect your overall well-being.
We've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive into starting keto for weight loss. We've talked about the science behind it and the importance of those macros and healthy fats, plus some practical tips for getting started. But there's one thing that keeps popping up in both books, the mental and emotional side of keto. Is it all about willpower and feeling deprived? Or is there something more to it?
That's a great question, and one that we'll definitely explore in the next part of our deep dive. We'll be uncovering those surprising mental and emotional benefits that can come along with going keto.
This is getting really interesting. I can't wait to see what else these books have to offer. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be back soon with part 2. Welcome back to our keto deep dive. We left off talking about how keto can be more than just a physical transformation. What about the mental and emotional shifts that people experience?
It really is interesting how much your diet can affect you mentally and emotionally. In Simply Keto, Suzanne Ryan talks about how stabilizing your blood sugar can really improve your mood. And you're less likely to be irritable.
So less hangry outbursts. I like that. But how does that actually work?
Well, think about it. When your blood sugar is constantly going up and down, your energy and your mood follow that same pattern. Keto helps keep things more stable, so you're more likely to be calm and focused.
Yeah, that makes sense. Both books mention that increased mental clarity is a common benefit.
Oh, absolutely. Mark Sisson explains it really well in the Keto Reset Diet Cookbook. He says that when your brain starts using ketones for fuel, it can actually improve your cognitive function, your focus, and your mental energy. It's like giving your brain a premium fuel source.
So it's not just about weight loss then. It's about getting your brain working better too. That's really interesting. Suzanne Ryan even talks about how keto helped her get rid of her brain fog.
Yeah.
And how she just felt sharper overall. Is that typical or was she just lucky?
Everyone's experience is different, of course, but a lot of people who do keto say they feel more alert and focused. We need more research to really understand it all, but there's definitely something to it.
That's exciting. And when you think about it, it makes sense. You're giving your brain a steady supply of energy from those healthy fats.
Yeah.
Instead of relying on sugar.
Exactly. And speaking of healthy fats, Sisson's book goes into detail about certain fats, like omega-3 fatty acids. Those are essential for brain health and how well you think.
So it's not just any fat then.
No.
It's about choosing the right ones.
It is. Keto is all about making good choices that are good for your body and your mind. And the benefits go beyond just feeling sharper mentally. There's even some research out there that suggests keto might help with things like anxiety and depression.
Really? That's amazing. Is there any evidence for that?
The research is pretty new, but what we're seeing so far is promising. One idea is that keto helps reduce inflammation in your brain, and that might be why it helps with anxiety and depression.
That's fascinating. It really shows how connected our physical and mental health are.
It really does. And beyond all the science-y stuff, Suzanne Ryan shares her personal experience in Simply Keto. She talks about how keto gave her a sense of control over her own health, how that made her feel more confident.
Yeah, I get that. When you feel like you're in charge of your health, you really boost your self-esteem and change how you see things.
Exactly. The Keto Reset Diet Cookbook talks about this too. It emphasizes how important your mindset and self-care are when you're doing keto. It's about being patient with yourself, celebrating those small wins, and really focusing on the positive changes you're going through.
So keto's more than a diet then. It's a lifestyle change, one that can help you understand yourself better.
That's a great way to put it. It's about creating a lifestyle that supports you, both physically and mentally.
This conversation has been so eye-opening. It's amazing how a simple change in your diet can have such a big impact on your whole life.
It really is. Both Simply Keto and the Keto Reset Diet Cookbook give you a roadmap to start that journey and see those results. But let's be real for a minute. Changing what you eat can be tough, especially when you're in social situations, or you have to give up foods you love. How do the books deal with those challenges?
Yeah, that's a good point. It's easy to get caught up in the benefits, but actually making those changes can be really daunting. What strategies do they offer?
Well, in Simply Keto, there's a whole chapter on social situations and eating out. Suzanne Ryan has strategies like choosing restaurants with keto-friendly options, ordering bunless burgers, and swapping those starchy sides for extra veggies.
Those are some good practical tips. But what if you're going to someone's house for dinner, or a party where you don't have any control over the food.
Then you need to plan ahead. That's something Sisson talks about a lot in the Keto Reset Diet Cookbook. He suggests making a keto-friendly dish to bring with you. That way you have something you can enjoy without feeling deprived or tempted to cheat.
That's really smart. It takes the pressure off and you can still be social.
Exactly. And both books encourage you to see those situations as opportunities, to teach other people about keto and show them how delicious keto-friendly food can be. You can turn those tricky moments into chances to connect with people and spread the word about a healthy lifestyle.
I love that. It's about embracing the journey and finding ways to make it work in your everyday life. But let's be honest, even if you're super dedicated, there will be times when you have cravings, or you just lose motivation. What do the books say about staying on track during those tough times?
Both books say that finding support is really important, both from people you know and from the wider keto community. Simply Keto encourages readers to connect with other keto people, online or in person. So you have a network of people who get it, people who can offer encouragement, advice, and even share recipes. Have you thought about finding a keto buddy or joining an online group?
You know what? That's a great idea. Being around people who understand what you're going through would probably be really helpful.
It would. The Keto Reset Diet Cookbook suggests finding a keto buddy, someone do it with you. You can share recipes and keep each other accountable. It's like having a workout buddy, but for your diet.
I like that analogy. It's always easier to stick with something when you have someone to share it with. And what about when willpower just isn't enough?
Both books are very clear that it's okay to ask for help if you're struggling with cravings or feeling overwhelmed, or just need some guidance. They say reach out to a healthcare professional or a keto coach. Sisson really stresses that in the Keto Reset Diet Cookbook. He says working with a qualified healthcare professional is important, especially if you have any other health issues.
That's good advice. It's a good reminder that you don't have to do this alone. These books really paint a complete picture of the keto lifestyle, from the science to the practical stuff to how it affects you mentally and emotionally. It's so much more than just a diet.
It really is. It's a holistic approach to health and well-being.
It's amazing how people have not only lost weight with keto, but they've also seen improvements in their energy levels and how clearly they think. It's really inspiring to see how many benefits there are.
It is. And it all starts with understanding the science behind it, which is what we'll be getting into in the final part of our deep dive. Get ready to explore how ketosis really works and how this change in your metabolism can impact your health in some amazing ways.
I can't wait to dive deeper into that. It's incredible how much there is to learn about this lifestyle. We'll be back soon with the final part of our keto deep dive. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back to the final part of our keto deep dive. We've talked about what keto is, why it works, and even how it affects you mentally and emotionally. Now I'm ready to get into the real nitty-gritty. How does this whole thing actually work on a metabolic level?
Well, it all boils down to fuel, right? Your body usually uses glucose from carbs as its main energy source. But when you drastically cut carbs like you do on keto, your body has to find another way to get energy. And that's where ketones come in. Your liver makes them from stored fat.
So it's like your body's switching from gas to electric.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. The Keto Reset Diet Cookbook explains that when there's not enough glucose around, ketones become your body's primary fuel. And that metabolic shift is what we call ketosis.
Okay, so both books talk about this fat-burning state of ketosis. But how do you actually know if you've reached it?
Well, Simply Keto mentions using those ketone test strips. They measure the ketones in your urine. It gives you a general idea. But Sisson actually recommends a blood ketone meter in his book. He says it gives you a much more accurate reading.
So you can actually measure how much your body's running on those ketones.
Exactly, and it shows you just how much control you can have with keto. By tracking your ketone levels, you can adjust what you eat and make sure you're really maximizing that fat burning.
That's pretty amazing. Both books emphasize that reaching ketosis isn't just a one-time thing, though. You have to keep those carbs low to stay in that fat-burning mode.
Right, it's about consistency, like making sure your electric car stays plugged in so it doesn't run out of juice. The Keto Reset Diet Cookbook gives you really clear guidelines for getting into and staying in ketosis. It tells you how many carbs to eat and what kinds of foods to focus on.
And Simply Keto is great for dealing with those cravings and the keto flu, which can be real obstacles when you're trying to get into ketosis.
For sure. And it's important to remember that keto isn't just about weight loss. The Keto Reset Diet Cookbook highlights how ketosis can actually improve your insulin sensitivity and reduce inflammation throughout your body.
So it's like upgrading to a better, cleaner energy source
Yeah.
that has all these positive ripple effects.
Exactly. And Simply Keto reinforces this with real stories from people who've seen those benefits firsthand.
This whole deep dive has been incredibly eye-opening. We've busted those myths about fat, learned about the amazing power of ketones, and explored the practical side of actually living a keto lifestyle. What's your final takeaway for our listeners as they embark on this journey?
I think the biggest takeaway is this. Keto gives you the power to take control of your metabolic health. By understanding how your body uses fuel, you can make choices that truly support your well-being. It's not a quick fix or a fad diet. It's a lifestyle shift with the potential to really transform your health, both physically and mentally.
And both Simply Keto and the Keto Reset Diet Cookbook are amazing resources, packed with information and practical tips for anyone who's ready to explore the world of keto.
They really are. They're excellent guides for navigating this lifestyle and unlocking its incredible benefits.
Well, this has been an amazing exploration of keto. From the science to the practical tips to the inspiring success stories, we've covered a lot of ground and hopefully given you a solid understanding of how to start and succeed on keto for weight loss. But as always, we want to leave you with something to think about. We've talked a lot about the personal benefits. But what about the bigger picture? Could this shift toward using fat for fuel actually have positive implications for the environment as well? Food for thought as you continue your keto journey.